So you want to make wire jewelry with stainless steel? Okay, well then I'm going to be sharing everything that I've learned about working with stainless steel with you. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Working with stainless is not easy. And to be frank, it kind of sucks. But it is doable. And all the tips and everything that I'm sharing with you today are things that I've learned firsthand from working with stainless. And I don't want you to think it's going to make it as easy as working with something like copper, because it's not. But hopefully I can help you avoid some of the mistakes that I've made and make your time working with stainless a little bit more painless. See what I did there? So hi, if you're new here, my name is Day and I have my own handmade jewelry business called Daisy Chains, and I work predominantly with copper, brass, and you guessed it, stainless steel. And here on my YouTube channel, I share jewelry tutorials, informational videos, and the occasional vlog and Q&A. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, make sure to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into it. So before we dive into all the tips and tricks, let's talk a little bit about what stainless steel is. So stainless steel is a metal alloy that's mostly made with iron and chromium, and there's several different grades of stainless, so some of them have other metals added as well. Basically, you have two grades of stainless steel that are most common in jewelry. You have 304 and 316. 316 is more commonly referred to as surgical steel, and basically the primary difference between the two is 316 has the addition of molybdenum. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Molybdenum, which kind of increases the corrosion resistance in the surgical steel. That's why you'll see surgical steel is most common with things like body jewelry, like nose rings or belly button rings or things like that, because it's going to be a lot more resistant to sweat and corrosion and salt and things like that, just because usually body jewelry isn't changed as frequently as like regular jewelry, and it's also going through much more sensitive skin. But 304 is also really high quality as well. So both of those are the most common options that you're going to see in jewelry. Obviously, there are a ton of other grades of stainless steel that you're going to see in things like appliances or tools or things like that. I don't really know anything about those because we're not using them in jewelry. So what are the pros and cons of working with stainless steel? If it's so tough to work with, why work with it? So typically speaking, stainless steel is hypoallergenic for most people. Obviously, you're going to have your exceptions because everyone's different and they're going to react differently to different materials, but generally speaking, for most people, stainless steel is a great hypoallergenic option. It's also incredibly durable, which is great. So yeah, it can be tough to work with, but because of that, that means it's really strong. So it's really hard to mark it up when you're working with it, and it's just gonna last a really long time. Also, it doesn't really tarnish. Yes, eventually certain grades of it can corrode. That's kind of the difference between your different grades of it, but it takes a really long time and you have to be exposing it to some pretty harsh elements. But generally, just with like regular wear, you don't really have to worry about stainless steel tarnishing. Which I do also want to reiterate, tarnish is not necessarily bad. That does not necessarily mean your jewelry is bad. It doesn't necessarily mean your jewelry's cheap or that your metal is bad, but I also understand that not everybody feels like cleaning their jewelry, so stainless is a really good option for those out there that don't want to deal with that. It's also a relatively affordable metal. So for example, I can't really afford to work with silver right now because it's just so expensive, but stainless is a lot more affordable. In fact, the stainless that I use was around the same price as the copper that I use, and copper is known to be a relatively affordable material, so I think that's pretty awesome. So it's a really good affordable substitute if you want silver jewelry, but you can't afford silver. Now, that's a pretty good list of pros, so what about the cons? In my experience, the only con is that it's really hard to work with. I'm sure that there are more, but that's really the only thing that I've noticed is it's really tough to work with. I got me some Dunkin' tiramisu shaken espresso today, baby. So let's get into some of these tips. First off, like copper and brass and other types of metal, you can get stainless steel in different hardnesses, which if you want to learn a little bit more about hardnesses or wire in general and how to know the best type of wire to pick for your project, I do have a full informational video about wire, and so I will link that down in the description if you want to check that out. But basically you have three main hardness types, and that's going to be dead soft, half hard, and full hard. And in some cases you can buy stainless steel in different hardness levels. So I would definitely recommend, if you're wanting to do any kind of wire wrapping or anything that's going to involve you doing anything relatively intricate with your stainless, get Dead Soft. It's not going to be as soft as like Dead Soft Copper or Dead Soft Silver, but it is going to be your softest option out of what's like commercially available. So if you're trying to do anything a little bit more intricate, you definitely want it to be as soft as possible. And I'm not sure all of the different retailers that sell stainless steel, but I do know that I personally got this stainless steel right here from Rio Grande, and it was dead soft. I had the option to choose between like dead soft, full hard, half hard, all that. And of course I went with dead soft. However, I'm not so sure that Rio Grande sells stainless anymore because I looked on their website like a week or two ago and it was no longer an option. So I don't know if they've just changed where it's at, if they did recently do like some website changes it looked like. So I don't know if they've completely gotten rid of it or if it's just somewhere else. I don't know. So, but if you do buy from a retailer that gives you the option to choose your hardness level, I would definitely recommend using Dead Soft. And then next, which I know that this might sound a little silly, but this is going to be a given with any type of wire wrapping you're doing, but particularly with stainless, take breaks. Because it's difficult to work with, you can really easily wear out your hands and your tools. So take breaks, stretch, do all that good stuff, massage your hands, do all that, because I know recently I did not follow that advice and I did a full custom set for somebody with like a pair of earrings, a bracelet, a ring, and a necklace that were all relatively intricate, and I did it all with stainless steel in like a day and a half, and I was feeling it for several days. My hands were aching so bad and my wrists hurt because I didn't take breaks. So I would definitely recommend take breaks, okay? That's gonna be with anything where you're working with your hands, but it's a lot more important than you might realize because starting off, you might not have your hands hurt or bother you, but particularly if this is something you do for a long time or you keep pursuing or practice a lot, you can hurt yourself, you can give yourself overuse injuries, and particularly gripping, because cutting or bending, you're having to use a lot more of your grip strength on stainless than you are with something like copper. So definitely take breaks, stretch, relax. There's time, it's okay. You don't have to do it all in one go, okay? Now next, let's talk about tools. Using tools with stainless steel, okay? So I do use most of the same tools with stainless steel as I do with the rest of my wire, but okay. Hear me out. You need new cutters, okay? Don't use your jewelry cutters on stainless steel, okay? I learned that the hard way. Literally the second time I cut stainless steel, and it was 20 gauge stainless steel. Like, this is not like a huge gauge of wire, and I broke my cutters. So I would really, really recommend that you get like some construction cutters, like some heavy duty hardware, okay? Ones that are meant for like, I don't know, construction stuff. I personally have a pair of Craftsman cutters that I stole from my husband. I will link those down in the description. They've worked perfectly fine for me. I haven't had any issues with them. They're very heavy duty and I feel like it handles the wire super well, and I haven't noticed it like dulling the blade or anything, because that's another thing. Even if you're working with like a really thin stainless steel, like 24 or 26 gauge, I would still recommend not using your regular jewelry cutters on it, just because of how hard the stainless is. It can still like pit and damage and dull a regular pair of jewelry cutters. And so they're just not going to be as sharp and they're going to be damaged. So I would really recommend still even using like your construction cutters on like a thinner gauge of stainless steel. I've definitely learned that the hard way, okay? So I've broken pliers. I have pliers that have dents in the blade, like all sorts of stuff. So I have like several pairs of cutters at this point, and it's kind of because of the stainless. I would also suggest, if you plan on hammering your stainless, because yes, I do hammer my stainless because it is like other metal, like you can work hard in it. So if you're hammering it, it is still going to make it stronger. But I have a separate hammer for my stainless, and that also I learned the hard way, because I had my chasing hammer and I would kind of alternate between like, you know, just hammering whatever piece I was working on. And I noticed that hammering the stainless was leaving dents in the face of my chasing hammer. And your chasing hammer, if you don't know, is supposed to be smooth. It's supposed to have like a nice mirror finish, smooth, because that transfers to your metal. So basically, if you have a very pitted and damaged chasing hammer, it's going to transfer that texture to any of your softer metals. So I was kind of noticing that I would hammer my stainless, it would leave pits and damage my hammer, and then I would go to hammer a copper or a brass piece, and then it would leave all this very unwanted texture on my piece. And so ultimately, I bought a second chasing hammer, and I now have my one for my copper and my brass, and then I have one that's just for stainless. So that's definitely something I would keep in mind if you intend on hammering your stainless, or better yet, get a harder hammer, because the chasing hammer that I have is from the Beadsmith, and I do really love it. Like, I think it does a wonderful job, but you could always just try and get like a heavier duty hammer, like a good solid steel hammer or something like that. Just get a different hammer. But that's also something to keep in mind if you want to hammer your stainless, is make sure that you're either working with a very heavy duty hammer or have a designated hammer just for your stainless. And also, if you are somebody that uses a one-step looper, I personally love a one-step looper. I know that some people don't like them very much, but I find them very handy, very useful, saves me a ton of time. And yes, I do use my one-step looper on stainless steel. But one thing to keep in mind with that as well, at least the one-step looper that I have is rated for up to 16 gauge wire. I would not do that with stainless if I were you. I've used my one-step looper on 20 gauge, and I feel like it works just fine. I've not had any issues. But, you know, I try not to force the tool, but I can tell that it's like, sometimes when I'm using it, I'm worried that it's gonna break the one-step looper, you know? And so I would not even go up to 18 gauge. I feel like 20 gauge is probably the max if you're using a one-step looper with stainless. But those are really the main differences that I kind of do for using my tools with stainless versus my other metals. But pretty much when it comes to all of my other tools, like my regular pliers and all of that, like I use pretty much all the same pliers on my stainless that I would use on copper and things like that. Also, you might notice if you start working with stainless steel that some of it, like this stainless, it's not super shiny. Like, it's kind of hard to tell, but it almost has like a powdery finish on it. So I do end up polishing pretty much all of my stainless pieces, and to do that, I don't usually go through the full polishing process because I don't feel like it's completely necessary. I honestly just use a wire brush attachment on a Dremel, and I feel like that does a perfectly good job of polishing it without having to go through like the full polishing process. But that does depend on what piece I'm making. Sometimes for like my more elegant or like nicer higher end pieces, then I might go through like a full polishing routine, but I feel like polishing with just a wire brush wheel does a really good job. So really, kind of to summarize the primary differences between working with like copper and stainless when it comes to tools is have designated cutters that are construction heavy duty cutters. Don't use your jewelry cutters on stainless unless you just want to be buying new cutters every week. Have a designated or a really heavy duty hammer if you intend on hammering your work. And if you use something like a one-step looper, I would not go above like a 20 gauge wire. And this last one is probably the biggest game changer in my opinion. This has made the biggest difference for me with working with stainless, and that is your gauge size. So I go down a gauge size when I'm working with stainless steel. So essentially, if I would usually do like a rosary style wrap on my beads with like 22 gauge copper or brass, then I use 24 gauge when I'm doing that with stainless steel. It's still challenging. Don't get me wrong. Still, the 24 gauge stainless steel is still harder to work with than the 22 brass, okay? So it doesn't make it easy, but it makes it easier, okay? Like, that has been the biggest game changer. So same with like, if I have a particular wrap that I would usually do in 18 gauge copper, I will use 20 gauge stainless steel. But also, because of the fact that stainless is so strong and so durable, you can kind of get away with going down a gauge size and you're still gonna have a really strong finished product. And honestly, if you do start working with stainless, or if you already do, I would say the biggest thing too is just be patient with yourself. It is a lot harder to work with. It is gonna take a little bit longer. Usually I have to do a lot of tweaking when it comes to working with stainless, like with those rosary style wraps. If I'm working with copper, then I'm just like wrap, done. If I'm working with stainless, it's wrap, pliers, squeeze it down, wrap, pliers, squeeze it down. So usually anytime I make a piece with stainless, it takes me sometimes twice as long than it would with like copper or brass, kind of just depending on what the piece is, which is why I've also recently had to start charging a little bit more for my stainless pieces, depending on the piece. Like if it's a really big project that does legitimately take me twice as long to make because it's stainless, then I might charge a little bit more for it. And that's honestly just because of the extra time that goes into to it, the extra wear and tear on my tools and on my hands. So really just be patient with yourself. It's not easy to do, but you can absolutely do it. Just don't expect it to be as easy as working with copper or brass or sterling silver. So I really wish that I could give you just some magic tip that was going to make working with stainless a breeze, but unfortunately I don't think that exists. These are just a few things that I found that have helped me when I'm working with stainless. It's really just making sure that I have the softest level of hardness that I can get, that I give myself ample breaks and don't overdo it, because I love working with my hands and I want to be able to use them when I'm old. So, and making sure that you're using the proper cutters, hammers, tools, all those sorts of things for your stainless so that you're not just burning through tools all the time. And most important of all, your gauge size. I do find it so helpful to just go down a gauge size, because you would be surprised what a huge difference just one gauge size can make when it comes to working with stainless steel. So I really do hope that some of this was helpful. I'm sorry that I don't have like a magic fix that's gonna make it like super easy to work with, but I would definitely say it can be worth it. It's super durable, and in most cases hypoallergenic. I do personally use it for like if I'm making hoops or studs or something like that, where it's like gonna be one continuous piece, then I love using stainless steel for that because it is hypoallergenic for most people, and I don't like to use copper or brass for things like that are going to be going directly through the ear, because not everybody's going to react well to that. So also, if you're somebody that works with stainless steel already and you have your own tips and tricks, please, I would love for you to drop them in the comments for other people to read and for me to read, because I'm always still learning and trying to find new ways to improve my craft. And I'm sure that everybody else would also love to hear your insight as well, because this is a community. We are here to encourage each other and support each other in our creative journey. We don't do gatekeeping on this part of the internet, so share the wealth if you got it, and I'm sharing everything that I got. So I do hope that some of this was helpful for you. And if you have any other questions or comments or things that you'd like to see me talk about in the future, then feel free to drop those down in the comments and I will try to get to them. And as always, if you want to see any of my future videos, then please make sure to like and subscribe if you don't already, and I will see you in the next video.